Hey everybody, NiftyBC here. I am here with two wonderful gentlemen, TC and Jimmy D. And he is coming to us from Japan today. And TC's up in the north, up in the Canada area. So anyway, so today we were talking about a couple of things that have been happening in the
we could just call this show like two guys with a beard, a dude without, and a bunch of NFT crazy shit.
I think that might be the title of the next time we have you on.
Pretty much.
Just write that up. We'll just write that straight across the board. Let's just describe the whole show in one thing. But anyway, if you guys haven't, if you don't know what Uplift is, whoever's watching, it's a server on Minecraft that is attached to the Wax blockchain, and you can buy land, keys, rail keys, and there's a couple worlds in there. And they just had some pretty big news happen this week. Inside the game, you have miners that you can collect Upliftium, which is the in-game token. And until now, we haven't been able to get it outside of that. But this last week, I believe some people from the Kate team also helped in this. They got it listed on the Alcor Exchange as a thing called Liftium, which is not Upliftium, but it's a way to turn your crystallized Upliftium NFTs, which you can get in Uplift by mining and then getting an NFT that's through Wax. You can now transfer that over to Alcor, where you're able to actually swap it for other tokens, including Wax and other stuff. So,
well, let's just clarify that for a minute. Like they did, actually, the Kate guys didn't help; they just did it, right? Okay. And so, like that had nothing to do with us, right? So, we, just to give a little bit of a backdrop on what Upliftium is, right? Like Upliftium essentially was our quote unquote in metaverse or in game token that allows people like TC to utilize this mined token from holding certain miners or certain assets in their Wax wallet, and put basically picture installs and do a few other things like create portals in the game. So you can kind of almost think of it as like a participatory token, right? It's not necessarily the same as your other blockchain tokens. It's actually the exact opposite. Like the whole point of Upliftium is to burn it. So like there's an infinite supply, right? Like which would piss anyone who is going to invest in a token off, right? Which is why there's an infinite supply, and even the leaderboard doesn't track who has the most Upliftium. The leaderboard actually tracks who's burning the most. Because the whole point of it is it's a utility token. It's basically a utility token that is a utility token, not like one of these utility tokens that always promise to be a utility token. However, there were some issues because sometimes people are working with other people. Sometimes I think people are building with other people, and we wanted to have a way so that we could transfer this token, or users could transfer this token to be able to be used by other users in the game. So that I guess the idea was that we came up with Crystallized Upliftium, which allowed users to put this onto an NFT, crystallize it in 1 million Upliftium batches, and that process was all manual. But recently we automated it, and with the automation release, we also brought out the liquefy function, which allows you to liquefy it. So what you see there on the screen is enter.the uplift.world, which is where it showcases all of your miners, all of your lands, all of the partner kind of NFTs that mine up Liftium on a per hour basis, right? So that Upliftium then can be crystallized and liquefied. Well, I think it was a few hours after we automated the process, the K team decided okay, we're going to list this on Alcor Exchange. And we were surprised. We were like, oh, what's going on? We didn't know. TC probably knew before us, if I'm honest about it. He's
no. Oh.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, when I heard about it, I was like, wow, that gives a lot of utility to it, almost right off the bat. And I noticed those buttons the other day, and I didn't know what they were until I saw the announcement. So right here is where you would crystallize. So if you did have, let's say if I had 1 million Upliftium right now, I'm a little over halfway there right now. Anyway, I would hit crystallize. That would give me my crystallized NFT, correct? Is that right, Jimmy?
Yeah, so it's basically like any other blockchain transaction. You click the crystallize button. You can choose the number, like if you want to do 2, 3, or 4 at a time.
Right.
It takes a little bit of time, like not very long.
Like about 5 seconds.
Like the total of 5 seconons, like beyond quick, way quicker than some ETH charges that I've gone through.
Yeah, it's going to show up, and it's probably going to show up in your account before that ETH transaction that you made last week. Sorry, it's not really that bad. We all know that, but
I know it's not that bad, but we kid.
Right.
But
it's interesting for me to do this this early morning episode. My daughter woke me up at like 6:15 this morning, and she's just been running around doing crazy things. Now she's listening to driving car, reading storybooks, which is fun. But anyway, sorry. Yeah, so you can crystallize it. It takes like seconds, and then like you can contact people like Jen. Maybe actually, TC, you can walk through the process of how to do that, because you do it a lot. I think you do it on a daily basis with the gallery that you're building over there in the Uplift. So yeah, what can you use Upliftium for, and how do you as a person in the space interact with it once you have it as an NFT in your wallet?
Yeah, so I use my Uplitium as of yesterday to send to Jen. I just tell her, okay, I need a bunch of pictures put on my gallery. And then I actually send my crystals to Nello. He does all my pictures installs. So he contacts Jen and she installs all the pictures for him. I personally haven't quite done it yet myself, but because I'm so busy doing other things, but Mello does it all for me. But it's even good for transferring payment. Like, if you want somebody to do work for you or whatever, I just send them Uplitium.
That's awesome. Well, that's
so I think they can take the balance right off of your enter the Uplift.world site as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be crystallized to be able to.
I just mean I send it crystallized to Mello.
Yeah,
and then he melts it, and then she does the, like you say, takes the Upliftium from his wallet. Yeah. But I mean, for transferring it between people, it's perfect.
Now, right. Well, they're melting. Let me ask you about this. Wait, let me get back to. Oh wait.
Yeah.
The game right here, the melting. So now the melting. Now that's where I could take that crystallized NFT and then melt it back. Correct.
Right. Yeah. To get picture installs. Right.
Gotcha. And what are the pictures going for? Because I know you got that gallery going now. What are they going per picture usually?
100,000 per.
100,000 per to come in. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, and so it sounds like a lot, but actually, if you scroll down a little bit, what you have there is you have a per hourly wait for some of these miners and land keys, and so I mean. Just to clarify, these things will change over time. They're all based on their own pool. So there's a certain amount of Upliftium that's set aside for every single pool. And it really depends on how many people have it staked to this Uplift World. So it's not staked. It's like automatically staked if it's in a wallet that is registered to the Uplift World site, right? So for example, I've got a couple keys. I've got a couple land keys that I managed for So the heat's coming. They're on to me. So I've got a couple keys that I manage for a couple other projects, and they're actually sitting in an account that's not mine, just because I like to keep it that way. And I actually don't receive any Upliftium. So they actually have to be in a wallet that's registered to the Uplift World. But just by having that there, and then running around in the game. Building things in the game, having events in the game, having people come to your land in the game, all those things reward you Upliftium. And then so with that Upliftium, then you can do things like picture stalls. I think 100,000 yen probably builds up quite quickly, right? Yeah. But I guess we just chose 1 million yen. A million Upliftium as the crystallized.
Crystal, yeah.
And so that's kind of what we're doing. But like what they did over on the what the Cake team did over on the Alcor Exchange is quite interesting because that actually allows more fractionalization of like those NFTs once they're liquefied on their side. They don't call it liquefaction. It has nothing to do with us, but there's all these swap pools that are set up. So like people like TC or other people can kind of go in and mix and match and meld, like pick up options, right? It offers you options.
Yeah, so basically you could take your Uplitium million and convert it to wax, just like you did with our plant. Same principle.
Now, as far as like getting that Liftium, now, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe this is correct, right? So I would have my crystallized NFT on, let's say, Atomic Hub, correct? I would take that and then I would transfer that over to tokenized NFT. Is that correct?
Yes,
and then that will automatically transfer it.
Yeah, you got to put the tokenized. You got to transfer it with a tokenized name. I can't remember what it's called. I got it written down so I wouldn't forget.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to put it out. I think it's tokenized NFT. I'm gonna.
Yeah, I can. If I can find it here, I'll put it in the text box.
Yeah, let me see. Tokenized. Let me make sure that's what it says here. Now you want please do your own research.
Yeah, I actually haven't even done it yet, to be honest.
Yeah, you have to. Here, I'll put it in private chat. You gotta send it to this address.
Let me see. Let me make sure I got it
right. With no memo. So you transfer it to that address, and it goes into your. It goes to Alcor, and then you just go to Alcor. You'll see the million in there.
Gotcha. And then from there, you automatically can start trading and swapping from there, correct? That's what happens, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's huge to me because like Upliftium's awesome, and like getting the stuff, but being able to trade. I know there's a lot of guys in this that like to trade up stuff, and you can see even right now it peaked out when people heard about it. Obviously, I think that's a little bit for it. It's starting to slow down right now, but I can see this come back up pretty fast. Now, another thing you guys got are portals, right? Now, this is another thing I saw that you guys started to launch, right? So now
this is huge.
You have 2 plots. Now, does this work from LAN rail to LAN key to rail key as well?
Yeah, so I think as long as it's within the same world, it's okay. You can't at this point. You can't go from like Chicken Caw to Gratitude, for example, which are like 2 different kind of.
Sure.
They're 2 different servers, I guess, is a way to look at it. So you can't go across those portals. I mean, that might happen someday. I'm not really sure when, but once if that happens, when that happens, that's going to be that's going to blow people's minds, right? Because I mean, eventually, I think what's going to happen. Eventually, I think that the plan or the idea is to use the portal hub. And the portal hub, you can see the far right picture there. It's just a little portal, and when you walk through that in the game, which is just outside of the old world, when you walk through that in the game, it'll pop you up into spawn of that world, right? So I think that one's for Gratitude, I believe, and then if you want to go back to another world, you're gonna have to come back to the portal room. And you're going to have to come back through that into the other world. Right now, you can just transfer over server to server to server, and it will just kind of spawn you in where your last point was. Yeah. But I think the intent is to eventually phase that out because if you think about it, some people might be like, oh, it's going to take too long to do this here, there, and wherever. But if you're doing that, then you're actually earning rewards, right? You're earning this Upliftium to be able to move around, to be mobilized. And as well, it gives a massive use case for people to put portals in lands on different servers. But we're not close to there yet. I don't know when it's going to happen. It might never happen. I just want to put that out there as a disclaimer. But that's the generalized idea, right? And I think so the portal idea is really cool because now what you have is you have the ability I mean, you can only carry so much inventory, right? So I have 2 plots on Chicken Caw, for example, and like one of them is like a desert plot, and one of them is like this jungle plot. And if I want to move materials like from one to the other, you know, basically, I can have them in my inventory, but like they're gonna max out at some point, right? And so I've got to do these transportation like things back and forth here and there. I mean, especially if I'm in a building phase and I want to build this massive building. But now if we can put 2 portals between these 2 things, then you can just go back and forth at a whim, at a will. You don't have to take that time to ride the rail. You know, TC and I, you know, maybe we want to do something together. We want to link our plots. Like that's all okay too, right? It's like I can get together with TC and I could be like, hey, you're in the north, you know, you're in the northern quadrant, I'm in the southwestern quadrant. What if we like put together this portal? You put in one end, I'll put in the other end, and then people can use that as like a direct line between these 2 kind of quadrants on the map.
Oh man,
and it's good for us too, because then we get like more traffic on our land and
exactly. Yeah, I was just going to say I could see that become quite a good way for people to kind of get people to their land, is to build these kind of underground railroads to kind of get from here to there in the space, which seems really cool. I like
that was kind of my plan, is to build a terminal where I connect, you know, to mostly everybody. I can't do them all. I mean, it just, even at the rate that I'm making Uplitium, still would take me a while.
Yeah, it's basically TC is becoming like quickly becoming like he's like, so we're like the national company kind of, like if you look at it that way, like the Uplift team, like everything that we're doing, you know, like we're like the post office that's run by the country, right? TC's privatizing all of that shit, and he's probably going to bury us. He's like, yeah, screw you guys. I'm going to create my own transportation hub right here.
No.
He's making it happen. He's building art galleries and railroads. It's awesome. Portal.
I just love it. I'm just getting started.
It's so good, man. So now you got galleries now, TC. Now talking about galleries. So you got one gallery done and you're working on another one. Is that right? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I'm well, yeah, all I have to do is fill the first one up with photos, but I'm working on another one, and it's going to be about 10 stories.
Oh my God.
I'm going to guess maybe, I'm going to say a couple of 100 or 100 to 200 per floor.
Ooh.
NFTs.
That's gonna be, and that's in Genesis. You have this all in Genesis.
Yeah,
right?
It's not just going to be NFTs. Like I got some. I'm looking at this as if it's a website.
Perfect. Perfect. Which is that's
so
awesome,
I'm going to be doing all kinds of crazy. I'm just going to do it and just see what happens.
Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, you can dance around this all you want, but I'm just going to say it straight, because I think that you're 100% right, and you mentioned this before, like, you know, on Twitter and in some other problems, right? Like the metaverse might be the next internet, right? Like
it is going to be the next internet.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
It's like the next evolution of the internet.
You're not going to surf around online on your cell phone. You're going to run around in the Uplift World, for example, right?
Right.
Most people do not surf the internet now. Like,
I think
they just go to their social groups.
Yeah. You know,
and
like
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say most people don't surf now. Like people ask me questions, like tech questions, all the time, and I just say, just Google it, and they go, "Isn't it just easier for you to tell me?" So.
Get someone to run you down.
Man.
So I just type in the word in Google, the first thing that comes up, I just send it to them. Like, I mean, it's so this is what I'm saying. Nobody surfs anymore. So this is going to be the new internet.
Yeah, and I mean, with the rise of like Decentraland and it was not Solana, but Solanium. I can't pronounce it. Anyway, it's another VR space. You know, there's a lot of things that.
So yeah, I know. It sounds like it's something out of like a J.R. Tolkien novel or something, right?
Yes, exactly. It's a very sci-fi name. And I think that, I love the platform, but that's the one thing that I think is going to be hard for the mainstream to be like, I can't pronounce it. I don't remember what it is.
Samomi, I know the one you mean too. And I think actually we had I think that's the one that Ollie might be connected with that I had on one of our shows. Right. And it's pretty cool. Like, it's really interesting. Like, they're doing some like really cool stuff with like avatars and virtual music and things things like that. Like, I don't think that there's going to be one metaverse to rule them all per se, right? Like, I think different things are going to pick up on different ones, right? Like, I mean, M.O.R.B.S is another one on Wax that's been doing some interesting things with like gamification. I mean, I think where our metaverse though is going to I think where our metaverse, and I think Nifty, you might have said this as well on a stream that we did before, but I think where the Uplift World is going to excel is it more so than any other one, it allows people to like bring their creativity to the fore, right? Like there's no other metaverse where it's not just like a kind of carbon copy, cut and paste type of thing. Like our metaverse is more like Lego, where I think other metaverses are kind of like more like Tetris. It's like you got 4 blocks, you can fit them together, you can do it this way. And of course, like their metaverses have things that we don't. So I'm not knocking them, right? Like there's a few metaverses out there that have proximity audio. Like we can't do that yet, right? Like we don't have that yet in the Uplift world. Like we're hoping to get it, right? There's a few metaverses that have like streaming of videos. I think that's like quite high on our priority list is to be able to get that. But still, we're still working on optimizing some of these things. So again, I'm not knocking any of these other metaverses, but I think where we're going to excel is just on a sheer creative level, right? And the amount of shaders that exist, like the amount of images that it's crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean,
like
having Minecraft as like your base is going to make things so much easier because I mean, it's probably the most played game on the planet at the moment. It's been around for years. It's solid. It's not really going to go anywhere. That's just.
I actually found a trick that you can do with pictures.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
and he sits on it. Here, let me go and tell you. I got the secret. I ain't going to tell you. There's TC.
It's when I found out about it, I was like, oh shit, I can't believe you could do that. And my brain was going 100 miles an hour. I said, oh my God, I got the perfect build for this.
I was just in voxel edits. I'm building some models and I'm going to drop into the Genesis plots I have. So
if you actually go to my plot, I've already got it set up.
Oh really?
I'm not going to out you, but I think I know what you did, and that's if I'm right, you're a freaking genius. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I have a feeling I know what you did. I'm not going to out you from there. I'll leave it at that.
And let's just put it this way. I can almost bypass the punch sign.
Oh my gosh. He's hacking the metaverse as we speak.
I think Jimmy knows what I'm talking about.
That's actually let's put it this way. I think you might have figured out how to get people to run the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Kind of.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I got it.
It completely freaked me out.
So now, like, as far as like the size for these like pictures, because I'm about to start doing that myself. How big can these be?
16 by 16.
16, and that's as big as they can go, right?
The biggest you can go, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then like if you guys,
I mean, so we've experimented with like breaking them up and putting smaller pictures on the wall, but like it's kind of hard. Like the rendering isn't always that good. The pixelation isn't that good. And the other thing is like you have to keep in mind too, like when you're looking at it from in the metaverse and in the world, like if you make them too big, right? Even if you break them up and you make them too big, the rendering for where you would actually be able to see them, because like the rendering distances fall into play. So there are a few bigger ones that have been done, but yeah, generally speaking, if you want something on there, 16 by 16 is like the perfect size.
Perfect size.
Yeah, it's I kind of wish there was a template. Like maybe Jen can make a template of what this is how many blocks you use to put this size picture in, just to give people a visual.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I really like right now. Like for me to
I would even pick a spot on a map, like a plot, and just put a bunch of blocks up with different size pictures. Just write down on the picture. This is what this size picture fits on this block, so people can visually look at it. Do you know what I mean? Kind of like a tutorial almost.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a great idea. Like we should totally put that in the shed out behind the transportation hub.
Or
it's a really good idea.
Yeah, that'd be a good.
And
you'll get Upliftium because people will be visiting.
Yeah.
Like it's a win-win. You can't lose.
Exactly.
Okay, you guys do your thing. I'm gonna put this idea in our community in our public channel. Let's go for it.
So right now, for me to upload
It's
something,
really
do I
good.
have to still do it manually through Jen? Like, would I still have to go through a form? We're still doing it that way.
Yeah, well, I think it's probably always going to be there's always going to have to be a manual process to it because well, let's put it this way: it's number one, it's not an easy thing to automate because like you're going to have to put like the way that you input it into the like Jen and Gary, they're pretty good at it. Like they kind of have the ratios in the back of their mind where they know like what something will look like. But like for me, like when I do it, it takes me like a half an hour to put one picture in because like I got to put it in, it's too big, I got to remove it, it's too small. Right. Like I'm just playing around with numbers, right? So it's like, yeah, if you're ever in a game when Jen and Gary are doing it, like they might like do it once or twice and then remove it. But like 9 times out of 10, they're going to do it like perfectly because they already have that in the thing. But it's not an easy thing to figure out on the back end. So
one more thing,
we have Mike and D from K.
Oh, hey, Mike D.
What's up, guys?
One more thing I would suggest. One thing I would. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was going to say one more thing I would suggest for Jen is make a punch sign that people would click, like hit, and it would give them the alphabet so they can actually put words on their buildings. So cool. You'd punch a sign and it would take some Upliftium from you and you would get, A to Z in letters.
That's not a bad idea either.
Do you know what I mean? It's
just the good ideas.
Oh, damn. What? Like, yeah.
Like I got a million of them.
Hey, can you let's I can't even keep up to like sending these to our team. So can you like chill out?
Yeah, there's just so many things.
It's really good. I like it. Mika.
So Mika's here.
Hi, Mika.
Kate. There he is.
What's up, guys?
The last time
are you a fellow Canadian?
He is, yeah.
Yes, I am.
The last time I saw Mika, he didn't have his winter beard either, I don't think.
No, I almost didn't recognize him.
So tell me what you've been up to, Mika. It looks like you guys have been up to something this week on Alcor. What happened?
Something. More than something.
Right now. So we have set up a new smart contract, or I guess technically our dev set up a contract on his own without telling us beforehand, but it was cool. And we had it's called tokenized NFT. Right. And how it works is you can get your Crystallized Upliftium NFT and you can send it to this contract, and then that'll give you Liftium tokens that you can then trade and spend and do anything you want with on Alcor.
Brilliant.
Yep.
Awesome job, guys.
Thank you.
No problem. And we are planning on working into some other fun things that we can do with Liftium now that it is on chain. So
yeah, so I have a question. Also, like shout out to all you guys are doing like with Kate, because I think that's really awesome. We've had we've had this conversation a couple of times personally, but I'm always interested to learn more. But what I'm curious about now is like, because I don't know, was this the first NFT essentially that you've done this with? Was the Uplift crystallized Upliftium crystallized NFT the first one that you did that with ever?
No, it's actually the second one that we've done with this. So the first one we did with this was for the other project I'm involved with called Reptilium. Mm-hmm. And the way it works is we have these NFTs that are feeder mice and feeder crickets that you can use to blend and upgrade your NFTs. And so we were like, well, a lot of people were asking for an easier way to trade them rather than having to go through Atomic and doing all that. So we were like, well, what if we just tokenize them? Right. You just send the contract one and it'll mint you one mouse token. And if you do the same thing with the cricket, it'll give you the opposite. And then you can basically send it back and you get the NFTs. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's just huge for the space in general, right? You can. The beauty of NFTs is that you can move a sword from like one game to another game, or from one wallet to another wallet, or transfer ownership from one place to another place. Yeah. But up until this point, at least in wax, there's been no fractionalization of that sort. You haven't been able to take it apart and sell the handle over here, melt down the blade and put this like heirloom handle on the wall. And I think what you guys have done, and you're not doing this, that's just my, weird mind. But like what you guys have done is you've allowed for that, right? Like now you can take these NFTs, you can disassemble them, and potentially in the future, put them back together in new and interesting ways. I mean, that's freaking brilliant, man. Like that's really genius on a whole new level.
Yeah, we're there's a lot of possibilities for this, and I think one of the coolest is that you can now officially, you could like whatever, we'd have to set it up for individual things, obviously, but like you could, in theory, have that. You could have that sword where the four of us own a quarter of it because it costs so much, but we still have that, it's still going to gain in value as time goes on, and blah, blah, blah. It works the same way. Basically, we're adding the ability to just break up those pieces so that, you can.
Actually, you know what you've done? You've just created multi-signature contracts in NFTs. You could actually take a company could take their NFTs, they could split them so that like you couldn't have that Canadian he might be in India, he might be dead exchange scenario happening there, right? Like
right. Yeah. No, there's a lot of really cool things. Like it also opens up, like, let's say yield farming on an NFT. Right. It opens up liquidity providing on a specific NFT. Right.
That's
so
insane.
like,
I need to talk to you more about this, Micah, because I'd love to do more.
For sure.
My mind's going like all over the place inside. I'm like, mind blown. Like, what?
Quote unquote, I need a private conversation with you so I don't give all of my ideas away on air. That's pretty much where Nifty's coming from.
You caught me, Jimmy. Damn it. All right. But seriously, what you guys are doing that's insane. Because, like, right now, there's a lot of weird stuff, because, you want, I think for the artists, we're both like kind of seeing like, should we play on ETH? Should we play on Wax? All of us love Wax because of the utility. There's so much you can do. I mean, you can create stuff that you just can't even come close to on an ETH network. And like what you guys are doing now, you're telling me that we can basically create stocks out of NFTs, fractionalizing those NFTs. That's like a whole nother level.
It's a whole nother level.
That's like a whole nother level of what can be possible, and that's you guys are changing the game, man. That's pretty cool, man. And I love how you guys work, where you guys just came in and just popped it on Alcor this week, with the Liftium, and like I remember seeing the live with Corey, and Corey just seems so like, and this just happened. We didn't know. The community told us about it. We're just like, what? Okay, well, I guess that's a thing now. It's funny because like we're not even surprised by this shit anymore. Like it happens so much in the space. Great teams like Kate and they're just building stuff. Like it happened with Our Planet. It happened with a bunch of these other like staking things. It's just like, okay, like do we chop now so that like we can go and play? Like because like everyone else is playing and we haven't had a chance yet.
I think. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Micah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that to clarify something for the community as a whole, we do this stuff because we want everybody to succeed. We don't want just one project to succeed. We don't want we may have our favorites personally, but like that's not we want everything to be open and available and to as many people as possible. Yeah, and
win-win for everybody.
Exactly. And we want to be able to when Uplift does well, that makes the rest of the chain do well. Because if all of a sudden y'all are able to bring in an extra 10,000 players, then we're moving. And I think that there's a lot of stuff that kind of gets missed by casual observers sometimes when it's just like, oh, why didn't they pay you guys for that? It's like, well, that's not the point. The point is we put out these tools so that people can use them, not so that we can make money off them. And I think that's sometimes the disconnect. And it's fun too. Like we like doing this stuff. So
I mean, I can relate to that. I mean, when I did Wax at Palooza, I mean, that wasn't, I made no money off of that. It was me just basically working my ass off for a month, but I knew there's a bigger picture there. It's like I came from a music background where it's like you had to learn how to build a scene. You couldn't do it as a band by yourself. It's like you got to have 5 to 10 bands that all work together, play the same shows. It's kind of the same kind of mentality, because we're kind of off the grid. All of us are kind of running this off the grid, small teams.
Yeah.
And it's like, especially when you got these bigger brands like M.O.R.B coming in and Tops and, all this other stuff, we can't compete with that kind of marketing money or those kind of brains that they have on payroll, so.
Or can we? Because they have, never mind. I'm just going to say it. Or can we? Because they're so entrenched in their old world mentality that they just don't, they don't get it. Right. Like, and I remember like, let's just put it this way. Like our team is pretty smart. They're pretty tech savvy, but I'm pretty sure that Corey had to explain this to multiple people a few different times, like beyond the uplift, like right beyond. He's like, well, can you just one more time? Like I kind of get it, but like right. And like that's the thing, right? Like we in the uplift, what we're doing, or you guys over with the M.O.R.B.S or the Kate team, or people like TC that are involved in all these different projects. Like we kind of understand it on a level that M.O.R.B doesn't, right? And until they figure out. I'm gonna throw us under the bus here. I'm gonna screw us over for all time because until these companies like M.O.R.B figure out that they need people like us in order for their shit to work on the blockchain, I beg to differ. Like they maybe can compete, but they're gonna be. What project do I throw under the bus today? They're going to be at the level of William Shatner's NFT release when they could be at the level of like something much bigger, much grander, much higher, right? Like both of them have their defaults. You've got this William Shatner NFT release, which did okay, but it's just kind of sitting there now, right? And you've got this M.O.R.B, Corey Cottrell, for example, NFT music video release, which was freaking awesome, that didn't have the power and the capacity behind it to take the whole crypto space by storm. Now, if we can get that Marvel, ingenious idea put together with like people like Kate, who are actually like building tokenization into NFTs and marketing like that is self-perpetuary. Right. That's what's going to be the game changer, right? They're not going to be able to come in where TC's like, screw it, I'm out. Like, I was just like,
I'm out of here. I'm out. Karate chop. I'm gone.
They're bashing M.O.R.B. I don't want to be in the middle of this. When the sirens ring, and I don't want to be the one that I don't want to be on stream when M.O.R.B. comes and drags Jimmy away. Sorry, that's my rant. But I do understand what you're saying. But I think like that part of the problem is that these legacy businesses, they don't understand it, and they're trying to capitalize upon the word blockchain without like enabling the people who actually understand it to come in and do what all these amazing things that make it awesome, right?
And I think that'll change too. I think in the next coming year, they're already realizing that because when what's happening, you're having these big companies come in, they're putting it to their normal graphics departments that don't know anything about NFTs. They come up with something, they release it. It doesn't go as well as they want it to. The numbers aren't where they're at. And because they're M.O.R.B or whoever they are, they just write it off, project over, move over into a whole nother thing. Like, what was it? Was it MLB or Top Shots?
Tops Baseball.
Yep. Yeah. They just moved right on over to a whole nother token, just wasted everyone that supported them through Wax,
Well, yeah, even what wasn't it? Tops, right?
Tops,
like
I think, yeah.
They left Wax, right? They moved somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I mean, my personal opinion is I think they're going to. I don't think they failed. I think that eventually they will come back, even if it's only in part. But I think that they're going to run into the same problem over there, right? Like instead of engaging the community and the builders who understood Wax, they just decided, okay, yeah, we're going to stay in our nice, tidy corporate kind of space where we control everything. And that's, in my opinion, what part of the problem was. And I don't think that they're going to find that anywhere in the crypto space. Personally, I could be wrong.
So maybe for the top
maybe we don't want them.
Good point, TC. Good point. That's a good point.
Cares?
Yeah, with the Tops thing though, I was like kind of disappointed because I was like, okay, y'all have the full official license. You can do whatever you want with MLB, and like it's just a collection card.
Right.
NFT. There's no like. I think that they should have done like you could have put fantasy baseball into this.
Yeah.
You could have done a pick'em. You could have done like the what's that thing called the streak thing that they do where like you pick a batter every day and they try to get beat the streak thing. Like there's a million easy things that they could have done to make this like significantly more popular and significantly more extended, like long-term growth. And I think that they were just like, we got our money and that's all we care about. And I don't think that that's, and then they move over to another chain and I don't see it going any better. Yeah, they might make a little bit more money or they might not. But
and the problem with that is everybody remembers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when they decide to come back, people are going to go,
yeah.
How long are they going to stick around for? Do I really want to invest in them?
Well,
so they probably shot themselves in the foot.
I think when they come back, we're going to be when they come back, we're going to be the dinosaurs of the space, right? Like they're going to come back, they're going to flood in, when all of the masses flood in, and they realize that Wax the ecosystem in general is like one of the most undervalued, right?
We will be marble.
Yeah, I mean, just even like when I plug into a lot of these spaces on Twitter, for like all the ETH releases, and they're just desperate to figure out utility, which you could do so easily on Wax. It's so crazy to me to hear the kind of stuff, crazy ideas they come up with, and I'm just like, man, you could just do free pack drops every month and stoke everyone out, and you just can't do that over there at all. The gas fees alone. I mean, the gas fee Wiko was $5,000 TC or something.
Yeah, that's what I read. I don't know if it was true, but that's what I read. 5,200 or something.
Oh, I mean, I've seen some pretty crazy prices. So I mean, some days it's fine, but it's like I still think that there's that lack of utility. I mean, the most you can do is like, oh, it has these, traits, and that's about as far as it goes. You can't really do much more than that. And when you go on Wax, it's like even the last release I did, it's a small pack release, but it's like. It's blendable. You can blend up, you can blend down, you can switch it around, you can change your NFTs. It's like you can never do that on ETH. And so these bigger companies coming in and not kind of grasping onto all those little extra traits, they're just missing out, And so like all they have to do is get in contact, even with like say you guys with Uplift, work on a build for the release, have an event through there.
Oh, absolutely.
You're getting the whole community kind of being part of it. Same with Kate, it's like you guys could do the same thing, It's just like I think big brands are going to eventually have to start to connect to the people in the space instead of just trying to come in and railroad into the space,
Yeah. Sometimes I like not doing the stream with Corey because I get to say things like this and not be shunned. I can't wait for the day that Kate caters to the big corporations in the NFT space. Corey hates puns, by the way. So.
Yeah, no, like I think that the stuff that we're doing, the stuff that you guys are doing, like all of us really is like we're building the foundations and hoping that and for some of us and for a lot of us actually it's been very successful so far. And I think that once we move to that next stage, I think we're like at the top of that plateau right there. We're just getting there, and then I think the next thing is going to come. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I think we're going to be. I think Wax is in a really good position right now for.
I honestly think it's going to explode.
Market. Yeah, massive market utilization because, like. I'm going to go off on a little tangent here myself. Yes. So the other project that I'm working on, Reptilium, they are like basically what we're doing is we're going to actual shows like reptile breeder shows. We've got Mike who's down in Georgia. He goes to all these shows, and we're bringing people that have never seen NFTs before, that have never seen a Wax wallet before, and going. Do you want to collect your favorite animals? Do you want to collect your favorite breeders' stuff? Do you want to get coupons for your shows? Do you want to get your ticket through Wax next time? We're going to be able to do that. And the things that open up because of that, like you can get rid of, Eventbrite and your Ticketmaster in the future. If we're able to put all this together down the line and go, here's your ticket for your show or for your concert or for your movie,
whatever,
right?
Yeah.
like I think that there's, one thing that Marvel could do, right? Here's just an idea off the top of my head. Marvel could, if you buy one of their NFTs on Wax, maybe you get a free ticket to a show.
Yep. Yeah.
I think it's inevitable. Like when we were talking with some of these producers and stuff, through Yoshi Drops, like the potential there is massive. And it's not only that; it's like you buy some merchandise, right? Like so you buy some merchandise, and you get with that merchandise comes a QR code that's scannable. It's sealed, so you can't get it until you finish the cereal per se. And then that QR code is scannable, and when you scan that QR code, then that is just this NFT that exists in your wallet, right?
Well,
and like Mika said, Dave Matthews shows up in your hometown, and you happen to have an NFT in your wallet from Dave Matthews, and they're able to actually look and say, okay, well, the first 100 people who register who hold that NFT get a free concert ticket at this level, right? And I think like the potential, like you're saying, of those kind of free promotional giveaways, right, are huge, because no longer do you have to like monitor 100 cards in your wallet. You don't have to pull out this card, that card, whatever card at the supermarket to get those damn points, and then figure out how to transfer those over to Air Miles, and then be like, oh, my Air Miles are going to expire because I can't use them because of this freaking virus. So now I got to decide whether I want steak or wine, and then you got to transfer them over to that, right? Now you just have essentially this member card that is connected, digitally, virtually through all of these things that like can go out with cross potential promo. Like, I don't think it's a rant. I think what you're saying is inevitable. Again, it just needs people like you and your team, or Nifty, or all of us really to figure out how to like put this into action. So that
Jimmy,
it makes sense,
that,
right?
I have put that into action. If you go to M.O.R.B.S.app,
right, that's true.
Merch.
Right.
And the merch all comes with a free NFT. So I tried it the other way. I made it so that you could do a virtual shirt that spun. It was like a 3D shirt I made. And if you bought it through Wax, you would get a shirt sent to you. But it became too hard because of the shipping, because obviously there's not a back end to do that. It's all manual. It became a headache. Mm-hmm. So I switched it around. So now you just go buy a shirt, and you basically put your email in, and I send you a claim link to an NFT of the shirt you just bought. So that already works. We got that, in fact. So
and now what happens? What happens when that NFT that you bought, that shirt that you bought, you get the NFT. The NFT goes into your wallet. It gives you access into the M.O.R.B.S game. Maybe it's like a free pass. But what happens when that NFT is taken by a team like Kate and pulled out, right? And now you're buying merchandise from a company that is essentially stakeable. And you're getting a passive return on it. Like, that's nuts. Like,
that's 100% where I want this to go. That's the next point is to go into staking, because TC understands staking. When you figure out staking, we finally figure it out. You're like, oh, wait a second, what? You mean I can compound this like essentially forever? Like, oh my God, that's
why isn't everybody doing that?
Exactly. Like,
all it's going to take is one company, right? Once Nike or Reebok or Marvel or any of these companies figure this out, right? And like, it's going to take 6 months to trickle down, but it's just going to be like, wait a minute, these guys are actually paying people for Marvel's paying people for their attention, and they're making more money than ever before.
Right. I mean, that's how movies are going to get made. I think independent film is going to go down that direction, where you're buying an NFT as like an investor NFT, almost like you would. What's the site I'm thinking?
Kickstarter.
Like Kickstarter. Think of what Kickstarter does, except that you get an actual NFT you own. You can trade that exact NFT, and then you can stake it there, so that if the movie starts making money, you're making money. It's like this could go into a whole different kind of microeconomy. I think that's going to be far more valuable, and you own it. It's on the blockchain forever. It's there, and for the creators, you're just getting those extra incentives on the secondary sales all the way down the line. So I don't know. I just see this going a whole crazy direction in a few years,
Well, and there's so many potential things. Like this is like long before on our end. Like I've been harassing our team with zero technical capacity. I mean, I'm the one with zero technical capacity. Obviously, they know what they're doing. But like, I've been harassing them for months about like various things, and I kind of feel bad now, so I stopped. But it's like, when can we get video rendering? When could we actually put this on the screen? So now we just let people like TC harass them, and I can feel free because But like, you bring up an interesting point. Like, one of the things that I was really interested in with the Uplift, which we're not doing anytime soon because we don't have the capacity to do it, was like fractionalization of these NFTs. Like I mean, it makes sense if you're looking at it from like a traditional real estate perspective, right? Like, what if you were to take up one of these big land plots and you were to break it into 4, right? Or what if you were to take like 4 or 5 or 6 of these smaller land plots and you had them all in one space and you were like to meld them into one? I mean, I might know a team that has the potential to be able to do this kind of stuff, right? Like, I don't know. And so like the possibilities for that are the possibilities for that are amazing, right? Like, Monopoly is a great example, right? Like, you look at Monopoly, everyone wanted Boardwalk and Parkway, right? But like the next one, nobody remembers any of the other things. Kentucky, because it was orange, but that's about it. But what if at some point in this game you had the ability to meld Boardwalk and Parkway into one card, and then like basically sell it to the rest of the players for an obscene amount of money that would give you kickbacks? You get to walk away, go hang out in the park. You come back, 4 hours later, you're still winning the game, but you're not even playing anymore, right? Like,
yeah, I actually think that the initial kind of thought for this was came all the way back from when we were originally looking to do some sort of split on Alien World's land. And we were like, well, how would we be able to tokenize that? How would we be able to split that up to like 10 different people? Because at the time they were quite expensive. They still are. And so it was like, well, this was before we bought our full one outright. But it was like, if we were to basically do like 100 shards as an NFT, but then I was like, wait a minute, instead of doing shards, why don't we just do them as tokens? Like actual fungible tokens that you can be traded and sent. And I think that the future of a lot of this stuff is going to end up being fractional ownership of that land. Like, you're going to have like, 0.16 of an Uplift land, or 0.45 of an Alien Worlds land. And through different smart contracts, you'll still get your same passive as you'd get the proportional passive that you would get as if you own the full one, cut down to that 0.45 or that 0.13 or whatever. And I think that once that is possible, then this whole thing just goes like, who knows where this goes, right? Because then you have like, instead of having to spend $6,000 on an Alien Worlds land, maybe you can spend $6 and get 10%, 1% of one, or whatever that works out to. I can't do the math right now. 0.1%, right? And so, but like, then you get your Trillium that starting to roll in every week, and then you can go ahead and buy another Pete. You can buy another 0.1%, so that eventually down the road, you have that full land, and then you can take that token, send it back through the contract, and get your actual full land. That's the goal. Like,
and in a way, it's almost the missing link, because there were a lot of companies last year, a couple of years ago, that came up with this concept of tokenizing actual real estate, which is brilliant, but nobody's doing it, because the idea was, okay, like, what if we could take this house, right, in California somewhere where people want to rent it as a vacation home or whatever. We can all buy it, we can tokenize it, and then like, that ownership of that house, the tokenization of it will give you kickback to your regular bank account. Problem with this is, the people who can afford to buy those real world houses, 9 times out of 10, who are interested in like such a kind of like real world business idea, they know nothing about NFTs. They don't even know how to get a wallet or open the wallet, right? And it's not that like people who know about NFTs don't have the capacity to do that. They do, but they're so focused on virtual land right now because like it's so much more lucrative, right? Like the potential there to flip it with zero regulation. You don't have to worry about people coming in and messing up your shit, right? Like that's so. I think like that might be the missing link, right? Like if we can bridge that real world scenario, get people interested in doing that from inside, like Nifty says. I mean, you're not living the full life unless you've figured out how to swing both ways. That's what that's what I took from your like NFT in stores and NFT like which comes first type of thing. I just took it as you being an NFT swinger.
Right.
Oh man. Okay, Jimmy.
Oh man.
Okay.
It's the last time I'm going to be allowed back over here.
No, wait. No, I mean, like I just think that this in general is just kind of like what I think is needed. Like there's that wine company. There was a wine company that came out with an NFT wine. So basically, you could get this wine. You hold it. So even if you drink the bottle, you can still prove you owned it. Whatever. Those kind of things I think are just going to become more and more. I see NFTs going in a whole utility direction as well. Right. They have nothing to do with art whatsoever. I think it could just be business NFTs are going to start becoming a thing. Where people are starting to sell ownership of a business, like you said, fractionalizing that NFT into something. It might be the new way to be ownership of a corporation or some sort of new kind of LLC, which is insane to me. Like that's just like we're basically taking everything that's been centralized for years and just kind of flipping it on its head. And the bigger the space grows, because we are so early still too. I mean, so early in this, and give it 5 years, I mean, it's going to be a whole different ball game. Like people are going to be coming up with things we probably can't even imagine right now. So I think the space is just going to continue to grow, and with brains like you guys all in the room and other people out there coming up with innovative stuff on a daily basis, it's like it's inevitable this is going to go into a whole nother direction. And mainstream, I mean, the people that aren't paying attention to it should be paying attention to it, especially anybody in a creative field by far. Like I don't know why they're not, but it will come around, I think. And then you got the uplift stuff that's happening with all the gamification. It's like Roblox and all those kind of games have been doing this for years with the beginning of like NFT kind of ideals, and you have a generation that, in 10 years from now, they're all going to be in their 20s, 30s, whatever, spending money, and they will totally understand NFTs. They grasp it now, so this is all going to change. I think, it's just interesting to hear everyone's stuff and seeing all these new things pop up, and like with the Kate, now, how many people are on your team total? Like, is it you and how many other guys?
We have 12 total.
12 total. All of them are programmers, or is it like split between creators?
It's split up pretty much. We have 2 programmers. We have myself. We have two and a half, 3 community managers. We have 1 guy for our Indonesian chat, and then we have 2 for English. And then we also have a professional who was involved in gambling regulation.
Oh, nice.
To make sure that
nice.
To make sure that there's not any
that's the guy to have on the team right there.
Right. We have our lawyer, and who's also he's our big market research guy too. So awesome. I like working with people like that. And so we're just I think it's we have a really good team, and I'm super proud of everything that they've done so far, and what we're going to continue to do. And I can tell you already that we're going to have another big thing coming, probably in the next few weeks.
Wink, wink.
Any kind of hints? Any kind of hints?
It involves multiple collections.
Nice. Like it already.
And passive earning.
And what?
And passive earning.
And passive earning, 2 things.
Imagine that the guys from Kate coming up with some passive earning idea. It's like it's not your first day in the office.
Yeah,
and I'm in.
And I think that, like, going back to what you were talking about before, I think one of the big things that I'm looking at to see how it does in the future is olive land. Yeah. I think that agriculture and cash cropped items will lead to, or can lead to, a venture capital by the masses idea where you have a good idea, you have a piece of property, you just need some people, and there we go. I think in Canada we could see
Christmas
cannabis,
trees.
yeah,
Christmas trees.
Christmas trees, exactly. Honestly, though, Christmas trees would actually be a pretty good idea. You have like that kind of stuff, right? And I think that the nature of co-ops and all this kind of stuff already existing a lot in agriculture, at least where I'm at.
Yeah.
I think that has a really big possibility of going, well, instead of just raising money locally or from the local, from your local community, you can now raise it from people around the world.
Yeah.
Provide food and whatever for
Right.
everybody, and they're gonna get it. They're gonna get something out of it. You're gonna get something out of it, and your community is still gonna get something out of it.
Yeah.
I always knew there was something familiar about TC. I figured it out now. He is the real Santa, maybe. So I was giving shit away. But like, what you're saying there, I think in Canada as well, that's especially big. And it's funny because like the minute that I interviewed Olive Land on our channel, I went to my buddy who's like out west, and I'm like, dude, we got to figure out a way to like fractionalize winemaking from the Okanagan Valley. Right, like that, some of the best wine in the world. Nobody knows about it, right? Like that in itself, you're 100% onto it. And I think when people, as he takes a swig of wine, no, but like you're totally right. And like in Canada, that could be huge, right? Like it could be the difference between Americans. Close your ears, but it could be the difference between like bringing our own corporations back to our country, as opposed to like farming them out to major U.S. corporations. And it's the start of a new world order, where maple syrup tastes sweeter because it's never breached our borders.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So. Yep. I think a lot of this stuff is really exciting, and I just wish I had more time in the day to do more of them.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear that.
100%, man. Well, shoots, man. Well, thanks, guys. I think we're about an hour now. I think we're gonna probably cut it here in a second here, but I just wanted to say thank you for all you guys coming up tonight. Jimmy, thank you. I know it's early in the morning for you, but thank you for stopping in, man. And Micah, thank you for showing up.
Thanks,
learned a lot today, man. I really appreciate it. I want to learn more about Kate. I'll be in touch with you, man. Maybe we can have you back on as well, man.
Sounds good.
There's things I want to talk to you about. And TC, he has his galleries coming up. Go check them out. Where are the plot lands? Where are they at exactly, TC?
The new one's at 3950 by 4250.
Okay, 3950 by 4250. And where's the other one that I've seen before that had some of the stuff already?
It's in the same neighborhood. It's actually, you'll see a big building called Pub.
Okay.
It's like the next plot over.
Okay, cool.
I can't think of it off the top of my head, the actual coordinates.
Awesome.
I got too many properties. I can't remember all the numbers.
And then Jimmy, when's your next stream, Jimmy?
Well, I don't know when my next one is like. Is that me?
I don't know.
No, it's me.
Okay. Yeah, my next one is in about an hour. We're going live with the guys from Neon Space to talk about all the cool things that they're doing. But like I said, Monday to Friday, generally speaking, we're live at 9 a.m. Hoping to get Mika back again to talk about all the craziness that he's been up to.
And while I have you on here, Micah, I wanted to also ask you about Waxapalooza. We're doing a Wax-a-ween. So for Halloween, we'd love to have you guys be part of it, man. And come on board. We'll give you guys some space to put the wares up if you're up for it.
Totally. Yeah, we can do that.
All right, cool, man. All right, guys, thank you so much, man. And we will.
Thanks for having us.
We're taking Jimmy's. Let's do the tomahawk for Jimmy.
We're going to see the tomahawk.
Tomahawk job. Boom. All right.